Coming to you from sunny California and the Great White North. Get ready. We are breaking down the obstacles on the Armchair Ninja Podcast. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Armchair Ninja Podcast. It is Saturday, February 3rd, 2018. My name is Rich, and joining me to cover the Ultimate Beastmaster finale is Bijan. How you making out?
Woo! I'm doing good, bro. Oh my God, I'm so excited.
We have an exciting episode here for you all because joining us this week is Ninja Athlete, OCR Specialist, and most relevant for today's discussion, Beastmaster Finalist, Kyle Soderman. Thanks for joining us, Kyle.
What is going on, boys?
Welcome. Thank you so much for coming on.
Yeah, of course. I'm pumped to be here.
This is going to be an amazing episode. I am so excited. We love Ultimate Beastmaster. The fact that you were able to join us makes it all the much better. Just watched you absolutely crush it on the course, and can't wait to cover it all with you.
Brought the passion.
Excited. I got a lot of passion.
So for those that aren't aware, those that maybe didn't watch Ultimate Beastmaster but still listen to us for some crazy reason, Kyle was one of the Beastmasters, episode 3. He's also currently placed 3rd in the National Ninja League.
Props.
He competed on the upcoming season of Ninja vs. Ninja with Hunter Gerard and Sarah Schoback. Speaking of which, Ninja vs. Ninja, what's your team name? Because I can't seem to find a whole lot of information on this yet.
All right, so Ninja vs. Ninja, it was a super sick show. It's definitely going to be nothing like Team Ninja Warrior. They definitely ramped up production, and it's super cool. I'm on the team, like you said, with Hunter Gerard and Sarah Schoback, and we're the Lizard Kings.
Lizard Kings, nice. Is there a reason behind that?
Yeah, we refer to him as a lizard because he has a really long and slimy tongue, and he's just kind of a greasy fellow all around.
Hunter did really well on this last season of ANW. I remember him, yeah. Yeah,
he got to stage 2 in Vegas.
Yeah, that's no small feat. I mean, props to that guy. So, and Schoback's a very strong female, competitor also. So that's really good team, bro.
I know. I was pumped, and I mean, we're all Minnesota locals too, so we train together every single day. So it was like my absolute dream team.
Yeah, it makes a big difference when you have that camaraderie,
Oh, yeah, for sure. And they covered that a ton and like how close we are. And it helps a lot, too, when we're actually on the course and competing, because if Hunter messes up, I can tell him, dude, you messed up because of this. And I'm not afraid to tell him that.
Yeah. No, that's really good. So you guys are trained out of Obstacle Academy is it Edina, Minnesota?
Edina. Yep.
Edina.
Obstacle Academy.
Cool. So you guys must be pretty excited about A&W coming this season.
Oh, we are all super pumped. Akbar was actually just at our gym today, and he was messing around with Sarah, doing some pull-ups and stuff on small ledges and doing all that stuff. So we're super pumped to have both the Super Bowl and American Ninja Warrior coming to town.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. I never hear much about Akbar in terms of like the off-season training and all that stuff. Like, how is he on the courses?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. I wasn't there. I'm actually in California right now, so.
Oh, what up, buddy? Enjoy the weather.
Oh yeah, dude, I am. I'm loving the weather here. It's definitely a lot warmer than Minnesota.
I bet. We'll loop back in. I'm sure we'll have 100 questions for you here through the episode, Kyle. We should probably get into the episode and see how you made out. For those that didn't actually see the show, we'll save the spoilers for the end here.
Yeah, let's do it.
So level 1 starts, and first to take the course is Mikhail Moem, one of our favorites actually from the season.
Sorry, Rich,
France.
before we even get into that, let's talk about the course, because we have somebody that's actually been on the course now, right? And I know they made some small modifications. So without going into all the specifics, they made a lot of the obstacles further apart and everything. But Kyle, was there a huge difference that you felt running this course compared to the previous one?
Honestly, for me, it wasn't too huge of a difference. The biggest difference was that I've already been on it, so I was a lot more confident going into it. So the changes that they made really didn't affect me too much. I mean, it was just a lot of small things like on those first big gears, jumping across them, those were a little bit further. The face plant, that dropped a little bit lower. So there's a lot of things that you can't really see over film, but it's just making the distances a little bit bigger on each one. The energy coils, they made the gaps a little bit bigger there. And I think the biggest one was the mag wall. They had the whole drop quicker. So that was the scariest part, and that's probably one of the coolest obstacles I've ever been on, is the mag wall, because it's pretty easy to get across, but it's such a mental obstacle because you're sitting there hearing them drop in the water and you have no idea when they're going to catch up to you. And yeah, that was a super cool obstacle.
Yeah, that I can just imagine that being nerve-wracking, because this one, it was 1 second and those things were falling quick. Like, you had to move.
Yep. Yeah, so that was probably the hardest change of level 1.
Gotcha. Okay.
The dismount was further too, right? It seemed like that was really tripping up a lot of people.
Yep. They actually tilted it so it's more of an overhang, and they pulled it away just a little bit further.
Man, it made all the world of difference. I mean, the people that even landed it, those were some nasty landings. Like, ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Right off the bat, we had a very surprise quick ending for Mikhail Moem, who we thought was going to really crush it here. Italy decided to still root against him, which was hilarious, as always.
I love Italy.
They
Francesco, my hubby, bro.
So Mikhail ended up falling on the second energy coil, which is probably one of the most shocking falls of the season, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
Yeah, those two brothers, they're both professional climbers. They were insane athletes. Like, they're very, very good. I was super surprised in that as well, him falling there.
Yeah, it was insane because, like, Moem, he was, like, my top pick pretty much the entire season until, I like, went back and I'm like, there's one guy that's kind of just standing out just a little bit. No offense, Kyle. But Moem, he had so much passion, and I think the thing that stood out to me was he was so incredibly strong in upper body, and it didn't hit me too much until we saw this particular run that, you have to get to stage 2 and stage 3 to actually excel to that. Like, you can't just overlook stage 1. And I don't know why I keep calling it stage. Level 1. So, yeah, like, it sucks, but at the same time, I appreciate the fact that you can't overlook the small things.
Right. I mean, that's what I really like about Beastmaster, is actually, because you have to be a totally well-rounded athlete, because if you can't jump, you're not making it through level 1. But if you aren't a rock climber and you don't have that upper body, there's no way you're making it through level 4. So you absolutely need to be a well-rounded athlete.
Mm-hmm. My big thing is the cumulative points. That is the big one for me. I love that particular thing.
Yeah, I thought it was super cool, especially in my episode when I was pretty far ahead going into level.
Yeah, just a bit.
That helped.
You felt a little comfortable, right?
Yep.
You mentioned about it actually being easier the second time around. I wondered if that was part of the reason why, as much as we had all the best from the season on here, the level of competition was absolutely phenomenal. Like, everybody was just crushing it on the course, to the point that we saw people like beating whole levels and going deep into the next stage and getting eliminated. Like, it was absolutely crazy how far you had to get.
Yeah, no, I mean, the course is insane, and all the athletes there were insane too. I mean, they did have some people like the Olympic weightlifters, stuff like that, and I mean, they look strong and buff, but everyone knows they're not getting far on an obstacle course. But yeah, a lot of the rock climbers and parkour dudes, they killed it.
We should mention your teammate John Gerdesik took the course, who, if you can think back through the season, for those that can remember, he was most stood out because he had the bow tie on most of the time, or the whole time he was on the course.
He had a quote unquote dojo. Training dojo,
a backyard dojo, I believe it was.
Yeah. He had an ANW course in his backyard, guys.
He had his not so ninja set up in his backyard.
I can't wait to see both of you guys on ANW and see like what the ANW equivalent of like, oh, I do some beastly quote unquote things,
He competed in some national competitions, they'll call it, or something.
Yeah.
After recording, everyone on Team USA, we kept our own Facebook group, and we'd always comment on either our Instagram pictures or Facebook pictures like, dude, you ultimately beasted that obstacle. You're such a menace. Like, we didn't edit because we weren't allowed to tell anyone we were on the show yet.
That's hilarious.
Man. It sucks that Team America didn't win, but I was joking with Rich ahead of time. Could you imagine the crap storm that would come from the A&W community if one of you two like destroyed the rest of the competition on this show? I would feel really bad because everybody I hear from A&W acts like they can just destroy Ultimate Beastmaster without even training. And I think you at this particular point have, I guess, you've seen both sides. So I guess you more than anybody else can actually answer this question. Is Ultimate Beastmaster a joke for an A&W type competitor?
No, Ultimate Beastmaster definitely isn't a joke. The biggest thing is you have to be, like we were saying before, a well-rounded athlete. In American Ninja Warrior, you could get away from just being an insane rock climber and be able to climb super hard. But Beastmaster, you're going to have to be able to jump. You're going to have to be able to do everything. That being said, Beastmaster could be really easy for people. Like for me, I think I have probably close to the perfect body type to make it through Beastmaster and do well on it, just because I'm taller, I can jump, but I'm also slim enough to where I don't have a lot of weight on me to where I can pull myself up. To where on Ninja Warrior, I mean, if you're a shorter guy, you're light, you're going to excel a ton on that.
Yeah. I feel you. I appreciate the fact that you point out there's different sides to every story, and just because you excel at one competition doesn't mean you're going to do phenomenal based on another competition. The other thing is, Ultimate Beastmaster, you are competing against other competitors, whereas A&W, you're more competing against the course. I hate it when I go online and I see all these A&W peeps just, like, thrashing Ultimate Beastmaster. I'm like, man, you don't know.
Right, exactly. I mean, everything looks easier when you watch it on TV. Before I even trained Ninja Warrior and I watched Ninja Warrior on TV, like, oh, I can do that. That's easy.
Bro, I know that feeling. First time going to an A&W gym, I'm like, oh, but damn, like, this is way harder than it looks.
Yep.
Do you want to tell your quintuple step story?
Oh, where I almost broke my damn neck. So they had some, like, I was at M-Rock Gym in Southern California, right? Just very quick for everybody. And they had quintuple steps, like, along the sides, but, they weren't patted down or anything. And the key about quintuple steps that you don't know about if you don't do them is, like, you want to stay low on them and continue movement forward. I jump on the first one in the middle, and I spring all of my weight to the side to the next pad and land to the top of it. And the thing just flips over. I do a damn backflip, and I almost land on my neck. Luckily, I just flip one more over, and I kind of land on my gut. And I just make a complete, like, PG show, guys, butt of myself. But I almost killed myself, and I'm like, well, I went right up to the next person. I'm like, so what's the key to this? Because clearly I did something wrong here.
Dude, I'm having so many flashbacks of so many different people who've done that exact same thing before.
Yeah, like everybody at home, their technique is so important, and sometimes you think you can do it, and it's just not the same.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay. So back...
Ultimate Beastmaster.
All right, that's what we're here. Yeah, John.
We'll get there eventually.
Like one competitor in. Oh boy.
Yeah. So John Gerdesik took the course. He did really well. He beat the whole level. So I was like, okay, well, third competitor actually beat the whole thing. That's probably a good sign of how we're gonna do.
Yeah, good on John. The dude's been like, Kyle, you were there with him. I mean, the guy's just brimming with like charisma and energy. Like, he's very entertaining. So I was really happy to see him move on further. Plus, honestly, when I look at the competitors, I'm not here saying this because you're on the episode, Kyle, but like, you definitely came off as like the person that wanted it more than anybody else. But John was right there as well, like really looking like he was passionate about this.
Yeah, I'll be honest, and John, I'm sorry if you end up listening to this, but I wasn't expecting John to be in the finals with me. He's like you said, he's super bubbly, he's super upbeat, but he's pretty low key about his skills. So I wasn't expecting him to do as well as he did, but dude, he killed it. He's good, and like I said, he's a ninja athlete or
Yeah.
obstacle dojo athlete, as Ultimate Beastmaster would say.
Yeah, I mean, really, to be fair, we didn't have John on our radar. We enjoyed his episode. We thought he did really well, but when we had to pick who was going to make it through, John didn't make either of our lists.
Yeah, I thought he would adapt well to the obstacles, but honestly, I felt, and I apologize, John, if you listen to this, but I felt like from what I saw of him, he would do well until he hit that wall of the sheer speed rock climbing type obstacles, which requires insane, like, next level professional type of grip strength. And I felt like that would be the end of his story. No offense, Kyle, but kind of your story also. Like anybody from an A&W background where it's like you do well, but when you're against a lot of these competitors that literally live a life of just speed rock climbing, I feel like, unfortunately, the stage 4 plays right into that skill set.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I mean, I'll be honest too. Before I went and competed on Ultimate Beastmaster, I wasn't even working out and training. I was just kind of playing on obstacles at that point. It was when I came back from Beastmaster that I like really hit the ground running. It was like, okay, I can do really well at this, and now I'm gunning for Ninja Warrior or even Beastmaster season 3. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Nice, man. I mean, it's always good when you have that mindset of like, I know what I want to work on next. So good for you.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think it comes down to when you talk about the ninja athletes and rock climbing, the difference is when you think of like a quintessential ninja athlete, I personally, I always picture like Drew Dressel or a Joe Moravsky, right? Like that kind of a build and that kind of a skill set. And level 3 is where they start hitting that plateau, right? That's where they have to really develop. And rock climbing skill takes so long to develop, right? The top rock climbers take years and years to develop that type of muscle strength and grip strength.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, that's one of the things that I've really focused on in my training is either doing finger strength training or actually going out and rock climbing too.
Sounds like somebody I know.
Yeah, it sounds familiar.
Yeah.
That's what I'm weak in is my finger strength and arm strength.
Yeah. Like I did the exact same thing earlier this year, Kyle, or I guess last year. And it's very, very hard to start on, and I'm sure those major finger cramps. But if you stay committed to it, you can get really good at that stuff. I don't think I'll ever get the professional level. That's very hard to do. But just rock climbing in general, it's very good for all around arms, fingers. I guess kind of like looking at different obstacles, like problems in front of you too. It's good stuff.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. And I mean, if there's anyone listening that wants to get into Ninja Warrior or Beastmaster or any of that, definitely hands down, rock climbing is the number one way to go. It's the best way to learn how to move your body. It's the best way to build up strength that you need to build up to do this kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Very quick in terms let's get through stage 1 because there's so many names, but I gotta say, Manuel Cornu, first of all, that haircut is just awful. I'm sorry, Manu, but this guy, he was on our radar, right? He was my original 3rd pick, but I switched it up, and that's Rich's 3rd pick, and he was doing, he always seemed like he was in the shadow of everybody. Like, he was always like the 2nd place guy, doing well, but not the brimming star and everything. But he was low-key doing well. I gotta say, he did the dismount from the mag wall and landed on the finishing pad with his side in his shoulder, and it looked like the nastiest thing I have seen in a while. The guy looked like he just got split in half.
Yeah, no, I actually remember talking to him afterwards, and he was saying his shoulder was bothering him, and they were thinking about pulling him from the competition.
Man, I mean, that would have sucked.
Yeah, he ended up complaining about his knee in the end, though, which kind of surprised me. It did look like his shoulder and arm that he had hurt. I'm pretty sure they said his knee anyway.
I mean, at that point, really, it's like everything's probably hurting.
Yeah.
Like whiplash, everything.
At that point in filming and competing, everything on your body hurts. So I'm sure it was just another bruise for him.
Yeah. But props to that guy for continuing to compete, and not only compete, but excel well. Because that was seriously, seriously nasty. And we were talking about this earlier in the season. I'm sure you remember, Rich, but just for everybody at home, it's not the cuts that you see that hurt. It's the injuries that you don't see or don't look as bad that really affect competitors. You know, when a person lands stiff on their leg, that's the stuff that hurts. It's like when somebody lands really hard on their knee, that's the stuff that really affects a competitor. It's not a deep cut, you know. So I feel for the guy.
Oh yeah, definitely.
We should talk about your run too, Kyle. A perfect run, an absolute perfect run, beginning to end. Hit all the point thrusters, like made the whole thing look easy. Like, congratulations on that.
Thank you.
Chris said when you were partway through the course, and I was just kind of wondering what your thoughts are as you're listening to the commentary back. He says, maybe he's too young to actually get nervous on this course. Maybe, he's just like, oh, dude, I'm going to like totally do this and not really thinking about the cameras or anything.
Yeah,
Was that anywhere close to true, or were you just more confident after your first run?
Honestly, going into any sort of competition, whether it's Ninja or Beastmaster, I've gotten to the point to where I'm pretty calm going into it. So I don't think it was that I was naive going into it and realizing how hard it was, but I was just really confident that I knew how to do everything, and I know it was right in my wheelhouse and my skill set what level 1 was.
So that seems like an underappreciated ninja skill set to be actually to calm your mind, because it seems like most of the top competitors we've talked to say that like that is key to success on the course, is being able to drown out the crowd, the cameras, the lights, and all that, and just focus on the course and do what you can do.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's probably one of the top skills to have, is to be able to mentally compete. There's a ton of people, and I know a lot of people that are the strongest people that probably stronger than Drew Dreschel, stronger than Joe Moravsky, but they can no way compare to their mental readiness to go out and compete.
When it comes to competitions, especially obstacle course racing, or not obstacle course racing, obstacle competitions in general, it's almost 50-50 where the mental portion is paramount. Like, physically, a lot of the competitors are there. They're capable of doing them. But the technique and the mental drive is what really factors in. So staying cool, calm, and collected, adjusting on the fly, knowing what to do next, and particularly knowing what to do when things go wrong, that's the stuff that matters. That's the stuff that counts.
So let's move on to level 2, where they did ramp up the difficulty there as well.
Just very quick, though. Sorry, man.
You love doing that to me, don't you?
I love doing it. It's my favorite thing. Just screwing over Rich right here. This transitions. Haiben Chu was both Rich and I's top pick, and this guy was looking phenomenal through this course. And at this part, he seemed like the guy to beat. But I want to know, from you, Kyle, from a lot of the other competitors, was he on your guys' radar, or was it kind of like a clean slate for everybody?
Yeah, no, Haiben Chu is definitely on my radar. My top few picks were the Muin brothers, Haiben Chu, and Manuel Cornu, because I know they're all super strong rock climbers, and talking to them and kind of seeing their background offset and outside of the course, like I realized pretty quick that they would be some of the top competitors out there.
Gotcha. Okay. Because it just seemed very like Haiben Chu with his accolades already from his episode and everything. I was like, this guy seems like the main man to beat, but I want to know like if other people felt the same.
Yeah, everyone else pretty much felt the exact same. Everyone kind of, I mean, I honestly didn't know him beforehand, but once I looked at his Instagram, once I met him, I was like, oh, this is going to suck going up against him.
It's like, oh no.
Then there's me, who's a quote-unquote ninja athlete, obstacle course racing athlete. Not really.
We forgot to mention that at the beginning of the episode, Chris, the host of Team USA, decided to say he was betting on China. Like, what the heck, Chris? Why would you do that? Like, as much as the hosts are entertaining, like, once in a while, maybe you should just support your team, unquestioningly.
Right. Yeah. Chris, he was a goofball the whole time. He wanted to support all the other cooler teams.
Yeah. I don't know. Chris was great in my opinion though. So Chris and Francesco, my husband, those were my two top picks. And for everybody that's first listening to this for the first time, just saying Francesco's my husband because I always pick my favorite hosts, and I'm gonna marry them. Francesco's my favorite this season. So I'm sure there's some listeners like, huh?
Right.
Narrowly at the end of the season bumped out the female host from China, who was also fantastic.
My wife. I had to divorce her. Oh.
Yeah, she was definitely my favorite.
So yes, moving on to level 2, where they did ramp up the difficulty. We had a faster stomach churn, as if that was needed. A digestive tract that sinks faster, also not really needed. And the part that confused me, and I was hoping you could clarify this, the links were further apart on chain reaction.
Yeah.
Did they mean the actual chains, or they actually mean the links were bigger or like separated more?
Oh no, yeah, the chains were further apart. The really hard thing about chain reaction is you can't really tell from film, but they're all connected at the top. So if you swing the first chain, all of them swung. So it wasn't just normal rope or chain swings. Like everything was swinging around. So there's a little bit of level of luck that went into that one.
Okay, well that explains a lot, actually. So taking a look at the competitors in level 2, Haibin Chu, who I should mention, you mentioned how great Haibin was from the get-go. I actually was a little worried about him. I didn't find he was that strong in level 1, and I thought maybe we had a wrong pick. Maybe we didn't have the right guy, mainly because he had a severe deficit with his height, right? Trying to get across those energy coils. He was able to do it, but he took an awful pounding to the ribs doing it.
Yes, he did.
But seeing him on level 2 made me feel better again, because he was, although he did get a little worried for him on digestive tract, he ended up beating the whole thing again, finished it very strong.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was really hoping he'd fall early on level 1, so I wouldn't have to compete against him later on. But once he made it through level 1, it was like, yeah, this guy's going to be going the distance here.
Yeah, just dude's super strong, and like the things I always say, Haibin Chu in particular stood out to me by the fact that he always seemed so calm. And those are the things that like I always look for. A guy that's always calm under pressure. The guy in many aspects almost looked bored running these courses sometimes, where he always stayed calm, collected, and he always knew what next to do. So I always felt like this guy, he's the guy to beat.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, he's literally been competing rock climbing his entire life. So at this point, this is just another competition for him. And that's what I try to do, too. That's why I go to so many different NNLs and UNAAs and ninja competitions, because I want to get to the point where I'm like, oh, yeah, this is just another competition. If I fall on the first thing, I'll just go to the next one next month.
Mm-hmm.
What's funny is that this next run is actually where I changed my pick, because watching you take the course, other than the fact he almost fell off the back of Final Ascent, you were looking so confident.
That was a little scary.
you hit both point thrusters at the beginning, and then you got to the top of the digestive tract, and you looked bored, and like you had tons of time to spare, looking down at your wrist, and I'm like, we have the Ultimate Beastmaster on our episode. Oh my God, we're going to be talking to the Ultimate Beastmaster tonight. Like, I thought you had it at that point.
Yeah, no, I was feeling super confident that entire run, and I was honestly just having fun with it because, I mean, I beat that level and I maxed out all the points in my original episode. So, like, that was the course that I was ready to beat. And unfortunately, I just got a little bit too cocky and ended up going down on the chain reaction.
Was it the fact that they were connected to the top that got you messed up? Because you got swinging around, for those that didn't see it, you were kind of going back and forth, but then you started going sideways, and it just seemed to keep getting worse until you're like spinning like the hands on a clock.
Yeah, I'm not going to blame it completely on that, but that was definitely a factor. And it was just, my swing was off from the get-go, and at that point it's so hard to correct from that, and then you slowly start getting gassed as you're pumping and pumping. But I would just miss that toe hook at the very end there to get onto the vertebrae.
It sucked, but with the point thrusters that you hit, that really kept you in the game, thankfully.
Yeah, I mean, that was my goal the entire time for just about every level, is to get as many point thrusters as I can and stay in the race no matter where I fall.
Yeah, it's important to have that buffer with the point thrusters. But not only that, huge shout out about the fact that both you and John seem to understand very clearly that this is not only a competition, but it is a show. And you guys playing to the camera, having fun, having that charisma, showing off that personality really, really made a difference. I know I was watching with my girlfriend, and you two definitely stood out to her. She was like rooting for you guys immediately. And my girlfriend, she doesn't really watch any of these things, so she's like super newbie. But I can always tell immediately by the guys that are having fun, they connect to an audience that might be a little bit more casual and make it more fun. So huge shout out to that. Obviously, you got more screen time because of that, so you know, smart man right there. But just in terms of competition, I love the fact that you had that passion. When you fell, it wasn't just like, well, you know, on to the next one. It was like, damn it, I had that, you know? So it always makes the competition mean so much more when the competitor, you just see the disappointment in the competitor's face, you know? It means that much to them.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and you'd see that in people in the past episodes when they fall, they just kind of swim away. Yeah, whatever. But there's definitely people that were there just to kind of go and do it and see how they do. And there was people there to be like a serious competitor and they wanted to win it. And you could tell from if they fell, they were pissed.
Yeah.
Yeah, we should also mention before we move on, Manuel Cornu, once again, injured from the level 1, but continuing on, had like one of the most inspiring, I mean, we overuse the term probably, I know ANW definitely does, but it was an inspiring run.
Lord, do they.
It really was. Like, he was phenomenal, like, to push through that, in the middle of which, I'm going to leave a little pause here. I don't know who this is, but I swear to God, this is not one of the hosts saying, what a gutsy performance. It does not sound like either of the hosts in this voiceover.
Okay, he's got to slow himself down a little bit. What a gutsy performance.
Ma alla fine mi sta anche simpatico.
Ma neanche a me, infatti a me neanche sta così antipatico.
Sì, mi sta simpatico.
Maybe it's just me, but
I don't
all
know
right.
what he's talking about.
I'm going to insert it after. I'm telling you, play it back, and partway through Manuel's run, there's another time earlier, I didn't note that one, but when it happened again, I was like, they put in a voiceover afterwards, and I swear they just put in some other random person's voice.
I never noticed that.
Yeah. Rich finds the small details like that. I don't know. But I have to say, Manu at this point was kind of becoming the Cinderella story, like low-key. But the fact that he was overcoming such dire odds in the fact that he was injured, which really made for a very good storyline throughout this episode. And the fact that he was able to move on to Stage 3 from Stage 2. And yeah, I don't know. Props to this guy. I'm sure he was hurting, but he had that passion. Like he just made it in his mindset. He's like, I'm going to do this. Crappy haircut and all, you know, just he pushed through.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, I've been in his boat before. If like you're there to win, the pain goes away as soon as you start a course. And I've had that happen to me, and I'm sure that's the same exact mindset that he was in going into the different rounds.
Mm-hmm. I finished a Tough Mudder with a dislocated knee. Fun times.
Exactly.
But yeah, he was able to actually complete the level 2. He managed to make a really cool transition onto the vertebrae, which is definitely worth watching if you haven't seen it. And yeah.
I will comment on that. I wish so much I would have watched him go before I did, because that was the beta right there. If I would have known that, like, I definitely would have done it that way. In my original run on level 2, I did the toe hook and ended up working for me. But it didn't work for me the second time through in the final episode. And I wish I would have known just to drop down and grab with my arm.
Yeah, it seems like those techniques, we don't see that quite as much on Beastmaster, but there are those little ways, right? Like on Ninja, there's always someone that figures it out, and everybody that comes later uses that same technique. We didn't see as much of that, but it does happen.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that said, I would still go for the toe hook.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, because the whole swinging your arm thing, that looks like a quick way to dislocate your arm if you don't get it right. But whatever works for people. Maybe I'm long, like I'm long and lanky, so I feel like that just still works better. Just get low and kick out your leg as far as you can. But honestly, it's whatever works for you.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Moving on to level 3, in the exact order that I picked them in are Hai Bin Chu,
I hate you.
Kyle Soderman, Manuel Cornu, and John Gerdesik. So I was absolutely beside
I knew you'd
myself.
have
Like,
something to say.
like, wow, I called that in the exact order for the top 3. That's awesome. So here we can get in the nitty gritty and let's cover every run at this point. John Gerdesik.
Oh, before we go. Oh, I love cutting you off, bro.
You are like reveling in it tonight. Go for it. What do you got?
I was just curious because this was a particular course or level that I didn't hear anything. Were there any modifications to this level?
Level 3, from what I remember, they sped up the, what was it, the treadmill?
The ejector, yeah.
The ejector. And then they dropped the coils quicker. So not a ton different, but just some small tweaks there.
Yeah, okay. It seemed because the level of competition was so high, just I guess those factors didn't really show as much. Because you guys were like, everybody was flying through those things.
Right. If you knew what you're doing, that really didn't affect you too much.
Cool. So John took the course. I'm moving on. John got both point thrusters, and he made it to the hangman, which, in the regular season was pretty much enough to get you through. He made it up to like the 4th one before falling, which was a really good, a good effort from him to stay in it. But he was behind on points to begin with, right? So because they're cumulative, he really had to use this level to make up some distance, and that didn't really seem like it would do it against this crew.
Yeah, I think for John to move on, he would have had to max out all of the points and pretty much have the other 2 rock climbers fall. That's in level 3.
Yeah, level 3 was the one where I was like, the 2 Americans, no offense, Kyle, but like the main hope is that one of those rock climbers falls, because this stage really looks like it's bred for them, and man, like I felt for John because that arm hang looks like the most painful, awful obstacle to go through. And that guy showed a lot of heart going through it. He was not giving up easily. Yeah,
no, John was killing it through it, but like that obstacle is so hard. And I will say, for the hangman, it's another one of those things where people say, "Oh, that looks so easy. They're just rings."
Nope.
The hard part about it is they're on like rock climbing rope, so they stretch when you try pulling on them. So you pull down and it stretches down half a foot, and then you have to reach up another 2.5 feet to get to the next ring.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I noticed that, and that's a good point because I'm not sure if others noticed that, but it's that bend, the elasticity, whatever it's called. I can't even talk anymore. But that really makes a big damper. When you bend down, you're just holding that much more weight, and gravity's like forcing you like that much more down, and it's hard to describe unless you do it, guys, but it makes a huge difference. Not to mention just the size of those grip holes. What I noticed, you're really holding on by basically the main parts of your hand, the knuckle portion. So it's a lot of weight going on your hands. And if you just don't have like next level grip strength that you've been training for years, it's going to be a very, very painful experience for you.
Yeah. Like 2 professional rock climbers from China and France.
Yeah.
And the 2 that beat out all the other rock climbers from France and China, like the 2 best, absolute best. Yeah, it's not like your average rock climbers. These guys are the ones that absolutely destroyed level 3 the first time they went through it.
Yeah, no, I'll throw a shout out to both of them. Find them on Instagram, both Manuel Cornu and Chu Hai Bin, and they post some insane climbing stuff. Like, it's super impressive.
Oh, I can just imagine, man.
Manuel was doing well, but he was struggling more than I expected him to. But I mean, he was injured and struggling as it was, and came up with one of the coolest like practically, Kevin Bull on Cannonball Alley level of obstacle hack there is. He sticks his arms through the hangman to hold himself by his armpits, like to take a rest. Absolutely loved that. It was amazing.
I love it. This is the ingenuity that I call for when we do obstacle course shows. Like, it's the adaptability. You have a problem, you're hurting, you don't know what to do, adjust, find a way, do something different from the rest of the competition. And this guy did it perfectly. He was able to find a different way of doing it and prevailed from it. So all the props in the world to this guy.
Yeah, that's really what makes the difference between a pro competitor and a next level pro competitor, is being able to figure out what to do when you're completely gassed out and there's pretty much no other options.
Man, I loved it. Like, I was literally standing up and doing a slow clap. Like, because I was like, good on that guy. And it's crazy too, because when you think about it and you look at it, it's like, how didn't I just like picture that in my head? Like, Kyle, when you're watching that, were you just like, why didn't I think of that?
Oh yeah, no, of course. It was like, that is such an obvious solution and no one else thought of it.
Yeah, it's crazy, man.
Actually, come to think of it, are they as strict with those rules that everybody hates where they tell you, well, you have to do the obstacle in this particular way with Beastmaster versus ANW?
So they weren't too strict. However, Manu's, like, they never covered that in the rules because no one expected that to happen. What ended up happening in Manu's run when he threw his shoulders into it, they told him to get out from it. So he got his chance to rest a little bit, but they were yelling at him to drop down from that because it wasn't allowed. And what they ended up doing is, for anyone else who ran after him, they said, okay, once you get to those two rings, you can throw your shoulders into it if you want to make it fair for the rest of the competitors who are running.
Honestly,
That's pretty genius, really. I don't agree with it necessarily that, not allowing him to do it, but once he had that rest, I think that's the best solution for the rest of you.
Yeah, to make it fair. Yes.
Yeah, no, definitely. One of the things was too is you weren't obviously allowed to use your legs in the ring.
Yeah, that I got the main gist of.
Haibin Chu took the course after that.
Okay, on this ejector, this guy wobbles. Did you get that kind of like a flashback? Like, oh my god, the top pick, the guy that's killing it, is about to just fail on the ejector.
Yep. 100% thought he was about to fall.
Yep, it's the same exact thing with American Ninja Warrior. It's the same kind of culture where you're cheering people on, but at the same time, if they're about to take you out, you're like, I hope to God you fall right now. That's my exact feeling. But like, he made it, and I was like, oh, okay, cool, he made it. Whatever, he's gonna finish the level now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird because it's one of those things. You're always rooting on the other competitors, right? But at the same time, if you're on the bubble, you're definitely not rooting them on quite as hard as you normally would.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He made it to the hangman and just demolished the course. Like, he just starts making it look easy. He's like waving to the crowd and stuff. Like, I just don't get how there's such a disconnect. It's like watching you on level 1, right? Where some people were jumping and looking like it was like the furthest distance in the world, smashing their ribs into the energy coils, and it just looked like they were ready to die on the course. And you're just hopping along like, hey, everybody, it's like, like sitting at the top of the digester track waving like, hey, no problem. Watching these guys tear up level 3, it's like, is this the same course? Did they like modify it for them? Because I don't understand how they can be just easing their way through it.
Yeah, no, I had all the respect in the world for him. Like, he made that look easier than anyone has ever made that look. So, yeah.
Yeah, he made it look like a joke. And Haibin Chu, in particular level 3, when he just looks completely bored and is just like playing to the crowd. But not only that, he made the hangman and all the other components of this level that was so hard for all the other competitors. He did not struggle whatsoever. It's the difference that I always see with Joe Moravsky and Drew Dreschel compared to just your average Joe completing, like, a stage qualifier, right? Where there's just another level of comfort and ease going through it. And I guess cleanliness, going through it. And he was so smooth in doing every single obstacle, and you can tell that he never looked tired. He never struggled through any portion of it. That's where I was like, this guy's got it in the bag. He like, this is my number one pick. I think he's got it. And yeah, good on this guy. I mean, props to him. All the props in the world. Hyben Chu, man, he made level 3 like look like a chump.
Yeah, I completely agree. He's too strong. If there's a too strong, he is too strong.
So Kyle, did they run these in the order that we see them in? Like, was it how it was? Were you the fourth to go and needed a perfect run basically to get through?
Yeah, no, actually for level 3, the order, as I remember, I believe that order that came out on film correctly. So
okay.
On Beastmaster, they had me running last, right?
Yeah, on level 3, you're running last.
I believe I did run last when we were actually filming it, too.
So in this particular scenario, I know you stay pretty calm and collected under competitions, but this has got to be like the biggest pressure moment by the fact that you're on a course where you most like, I don't know, but did you necessarily feel comfortable going into the hangman and knowing that you had to complete the entire stage, get the point thruster, everything else? Like, how did you feel going into this? If you can like bring yourself back to there. I don't know, like if you remember particularly how you felt, but mindset.
No, I had a great mindset like any other course that I do. The biggest thing was I knew my strength wasn't where it needed to be, so that hangman was going to be super hard. So I just had to be ultra efficient on everything else, which I believe I was pretty dang efficient on everything. But like I said before, I wasn't training super hard before then, so my upper body strength just was not where it needed to be in order to make it through hangman. If I did it in the condition that I am today, I believe I would have done a lot better. But yeah, I was confident going into it, but I just did not have the strength to make it through that hangman.
Just to bring everybody up to speed. So Kyle did get the point thrusters, made it to hangman, was doing fantastic. But you were doing the lock-offs that we've seen, but it wasn't really happening very smoothly for you. Is that something you've done prior, or was it just something you were trying to emulate that you'd seen others do?
Yeah, no, I've never done that before. I was strictly taking beta from the 2 professional rock climbers that went before me.
Right. Which is a good idea, right? Try to, like, well, it worked for them, I'm going to try that too.
Yeah, and I mean, it helped a little bit. It just, I didn't know that move well enough to make it work perfectly for me.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So you ended up falling about halfway up. I believe it was a little ways up the hangman. When you hit the water, a little disappointed, let's say.
Smidge, I was a little bit angry, a little bit disappointed. Yeah, no, I mean, like, at that point, I've literally been in California competing on this show for 2 weeks, and that was the end of it all. And I mean, it's the same kind of feeling as if you made it to Vegas in A&W. Like, you put so much effort into this and you want it so bad that touching that water for the final time was just heartbreaking and aggravating all at the same time. And luckily at the end, I was starting to tear up a little bit, but I held it in until after the cameras turned off.
I mean, understandable. It was 2 weeks to film it all?
Yep. So the first 4 or 5 days was all the B-roll, hero shots, that kind of stuff. And then pretty much after that, it was all competition.
Wow.
That's actually a longer competition, like, filming than I thought. I don't know why, but I always just envisioned this, like, filming super, like, in a very short period of time. So
did I. I actually thought it was a 1-day shot for for each episode, basically.
Yeah, so the final episode, we did do all the levels that last filming night, and then all the other episodes, each level you did per night. So level 1 I did in one night, and then 2 days after that I did level 2, 2 days after that did level 3, and so on.
Oh, that's honestly, that's pretty cool. I'm kind of down with that, because it gives people time to rest.
Right, and you got 1 day of rest. So you competed the first night, then you would compete the third night.
Oh, that's pretty smart.
But the final episode, they made you do everything all in one night, which was fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's understandable. I mean, compared to ANW, I mean, it's pretty similar, right?
Were you doing it at 4 a.m. or?
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's the same exact thing as A&W. Like you were there until the sun was rising.
Wow.
Yeah, you get on a pretty goofy schedule, and I mean we were all hanging out afterwards too, so it wasn't like the sun was rising and we go to bed. Like we get done shooting, then we go hang out with all the other countries, and a lot of the countries would party, and then everyone would go to bed, wake up at 4 p.m. and go back to set.
All right. So that meant in level 4 we had Manuel Cornu versus Haibin Chu.
All right, so this is our finale, y'all. Haibin Chu, Manu Cornu. I gotta say, like, Haibin Chu, I felt like everybody thought was going to be making it to level 4. It was his competition to lose getting to that point. But Manuel Cornu, or Manu Cornu, I got to give this guy a lot of props. He had a lot of things going against him. Obviously, he's got a next level like talent, background in rock climbing, but he did have a lot of injuries going into this, and he was struggling, in particularly the first 2 stages. So, he had to fight his butt off to get here. And that's what I want to see. I want to see just overcoming those odds, giving it your all. And I really felt like most of all the competitors in this episode really gave it their all. And that's all I can ask for. So props to both of them for making it here with such high level of competition. Them making it to this point, that's big.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'm just really happy it wasn't just some random one-off athlete who got lucky and made it to level 4. Like, these were the 2 best of the best. They did. I mean, it was their competition to win. They're both 2 professional rock climbers. If I were going to lose to anybody, I'm happy that I got 3rd place to 2 professional rock climbers.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm not surprised they were the 2 that made it to level 4.
Mm-hmm.
And they made for the most epic level 4 we've ever had.
Oof. I mean, that was it was crazy. Rich, do your best. Let the audience know what happened, but man, was it a nail biter.
So these guys, like, we're talking about level 4, which is extremely difficult. We had tons of Beastmasters that didn't complete it because it's that difficult, and they are practically running up it. They're going up at a huge clip. I wish they had given us a point of comparison for the times, because I'd love to know their time versus what we saw during the regular season, because they were absolutely destroying the course.
Yeah, I will say my level 4 in my episode, we had a 5-minute time cap. So since my other dude was like falling and stuff, I took all the time that I could, and I was halfway up the ventilator at 5 minutes. And if I remember correctly, they were at like 2.5 to 3 minutes.
It's not surprising at the clip they're going. In addition to the fact that they're both going so fast, it was immediately kept very close because Manuel pulled ahead first, hit the first 2 point thrusters. So he was 10 points behind when they started, hits the first one to tie it up, hits the second one to pull ahead, and it's anybody's to win. It basically came down to, you knew whoever took this home was going to be whoever hit that buzzer at the top first. There was no way they weren't hitting the top.
Yeah. And honestly, I was like, ooh, like you're wasting time on these point thrusters that might not matter. Most likely won't matter. Because going into this, I felt it's going to be the guy that hits the top thing. So I question if it was worth going for these point thrusters and shaving off that time. But yeah, Manu went ahead, got some point thrusters, and all of a sudden, Haibin just came out of nowhere because there was quite a deficit at that at the peg wall. I forget the name of it.
Oh, at the motherboard.
At the motherboard, yeah, there was quite a difference. Manu was really far ahead, but we reached the skyhooks, and Haibin, man, he kicked it into next gear and flew past him. It definitely looked like Manu got caught up at one portion of those skyhooks, right? Yeah,
no, he was hanging for a little bit.
I feel like he did that on his other episode as well. I think he struggled with those a little bit.
That was a really cool obstacle, though. I was disappointed they didn't show it as much as they should have. It was just like technical, strengthy dead hang off of kind of a nunchuck style hold. That was a super cool obstacle, I thought.
Yeah, they didn't really highlight it, did they? They didn't really give us a lot with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to see it. It does seem really interesting. It seems tough and fair, right? It doesn't seem like everybody hates trampolines. Everybody hates those things that are height dependent and things like that. This seems like one that's fair to everyone.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But in the end, Hyben pulled away. He hit that ventilator, and they were both off like a shot. But because Manu had struggled on the sky hooks, he just couldn't catch him. He hit the top and won the whole thing. So
it was
Hyben
crazy.
Chu.
But I gotta say, like, that ventilator, guys, they're both, like, Hyben's on the ventilator, right? Going up, and he's going a little bit slow. And all of a sudden, Manu starts going on, and he is throwing his body up that thing. He is trying as fast as he can, and he's actually catching up. So you've got, like, Hyben Chu a little bit higher up, but going a little bit slower. And then you got Manu go like a little bit down, but going faster. And you're like, is he going to make up the difference? Is he going to make up the difference? And all of a sudden, you just see Hyben. And I don't know if he saw Manu like getting closer, but this guy starts hustling. He's like inching his way, but all of a sudden he's like going a little bit faster with his inching. And it was nail-bitingly close. It was a perfect end to this season, a fantastic end in this amazing race between these next-level athletes. And yeah, my hat's off to both of them. That was some great competition, and in many ways, it just got me excited for Ninja versus Ninja, but that's another story. Yeah, just hats off to the guy, Ultimate Beastmaster. He deserves it. He earned it. But really, props to every one of those Beastmasters. And once again, a fantastic show, fantastic season. I loved it. There were some slow points towards the end, but it was never to the point where I'd say any of the episodes were bad. It's not easy to make an obstacle course show. Like, ANW's perfected it, but we've seen a lot of people try to make variations of it and fail. Ultimate Beastmaster, I find to be a very, very well-made, entertaining, like almost to the same level as ANW. And I really put it up there in terms of entertainment value. So props to everybody involved. I loved it.
I agree.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We've said so many times through the season, and even when we did kind of gripe about it at points, you'll note that we always followed it with parts that we loved. There's just every episode's great in its own right. Check it out if you haven't. It's definitely a great way to spend the off season from A&W. It's a way to kill some time. So Kyle, any final thoughts on Beastmaster? Like what you liked, didn't like? Do you? I don't know that you mentioned in the episode, like, you'd love to come back. Is there any talks of that kind of thing? Like, it's always, that's the one thing I have to say that I don't like about Beastmaster is redemption arcs. We don't seem to have that opportunity because they don't bring people back. Well, we've only got the 2 seasons so far, so we don't know if that's true or not.
Yep, and that's something that did disappoint me a little bit. I really wanted to come back for season 3, and I was really hoping they would bring me back or anybody back. But they weren't inviting anyone back yet. So I ended up going over to American Ninja Warrior Ninja versus Ninja, which that now puts me under contract to where I can only do American Ninja Warrior. So unfortunately, if people are looking for me to have a redemption on Ultimate Beastmaster, that probably will not be coming anytime soon. But you'll be able to check me out on Ninja versus Ninja, and then hopefully ANW 10 as well.
Nice.
Yeah, we're rooting for you, man. And in many ways, I prefer the fact that you're going to get your redemption arc in form of a different type of show, just because I don't like it necessarily too much when a person's locked down to one general thing. And I think it's going to behoove you a lot by the fact that you are going to be one of the very few people in the entire world, maybe the first one, that has a chance to be on every single American obstacle course show, like high-end one. You will be on Ultimate Beastmaster. You're going to be on Ninja vs. Ninja. And you might even be on A&W, like main A&W. which will put you in a very precarious situation and in many ways, make some history. So you got that going on for you too. Very curious to hear your thoughts when all that happens too. Might have to have you back and be like, bro, give us a deep.
Yeah, no,
compare.
I would love to come back. Yeah, it's something I'm super proud of, is being able to do all the different shows, and I got to experience Ultimate Beastmaster, and I absolutely love when other ninjas come up to me and ask me about it, because not a lot of people know in the ninja community how the actual course was, and it's cool being able to explain it, and now it's cool that I got to explain it to you and all of your guys' listeners. But I'm definitely excited to push forward in the Ninja Warrior world, and hopefully make it to Vegas this year.
Rooting for you, bro.
Yeah, or take down National Ninja League. That'd be a nice little feather in your cap.
Oh yeah, that's coming up next month. I still have to book my flight and my Airbnb and everything.
So who's on your radar for NNL?
All the usual good people, Drew Dreschel, Joe, all of them. Hunter Gerard, my training partner back in Minnesota, I know he's going to kill it. He has an insane grip strength, and he's fast too. The cool thing with training with him is he is really strong, and I'm really fast, so I make him fast, and he makes me strong.
Nice.
That's
like
awesome.
a perfect pairing.
Yeah, no, it's a pretty cool dynamic, but other than that, I mean, everyone's getting so good at this point, it's hard to say who's going to take it.
Well, I'm definitely going to be rooting for you. Yeah, NNL's coming up. We're probably going to have a preview episode leading into that, but I want to, now that we're done with Ultimate Beastmaster, Rich and I are probably going to take a good look at some of the NNL competitions that we've been missing. I am quite behind, but I'm really curious to see what names come up that maybe we've been sleeping on, and yeah, I'm really curious about the competition. I'm looking forward to seeing everybody compete, and damn, Kyle, I am so ready for Ninja versus Ninja, and I'm more particular than anything, and this is kind of like outside the box stuff that I look at. USA is promoting the living daylights out of the show. Like, if there is a season for you to be on, it's this, because I have a very strong feeling this is going to be a very heavily watched show. And I think that USA is really trying to position this as one of their flagship shows. They've been promoting this show for literally months now on every one of their top brand shows, and it's still coming out in the spring. So I think we're going to have a big hit on our hands.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Once it comes out, people are going to love it. From Team Ninja Warrior to Ninja vs. Ninja, it's two completely different shows. It's pretty much the production level of American Ninja Warrior mixed with the fun, intensity, speed, action of Team Ninja Warrior. So it's going to be sick, and everyone will love it. And I'm extremely happy to be able to get on that show, because honestly, there's not a lot of people who get on Team Ninja Warrior or Ninja vs. Ninja without being on American Ninja Warrior first. So for me, pretty much all the stars aligned. I did really well on Beastmaster, and now I got to do Ninja vs. Ninja, and now hopefully ANW10.
It's nice, man.
Cool. So thank you, Kyle, for joining us. It was great having you on to clarify some things for us, and man, you're just rocking the OCR world.
Ninja World.
Yeah, so we on the show there on Ultimate Beastmaster, they're saying that Kyle has an OCR background, and I'm like, oh yeah, Kyle, all this stuff. I don't know who I was thinking of, but apparently Kyle, you don't come from an OCR background. That was just something they made up for your story. But yeah, that's quite interesting about the fact that, they do have to make up some modifiers, if you do come from an A&W background, you got to kind of, fib a little bit. But yeah, that's quite interesting.
It makes sense from their side of things. They don't want to promote a competing show. So I did have to say that I was an obstacle course racer. But to clarify with everyone, I'm not an obstacle course racer. I race ninja obstacle courses.
So other than NNL, do you have any competitions coming up? Anything else you'd like to promote from your gym? Anything?
Yeah. Specifically, I'm doing the M Lab out in California here. what's his name, Arnold Hernandez gym. I'm doing that this weekend, and then obviously doing the NNL finals and hopefully getting on ANW10 and doing the Minneapolis showing. If there are any ninjas out there who do want to train that is getting called for Minneapolis, reach out to me or Hunter Gerard or Sarah Schobach, and we'll get you on our gym. It's a super fun gym. We'll get some training going.
So how can they reach you on social media?
So my social media, Instagram is at Minnesoderman, MINNESODERMAN. That's Minnesota and Soderman put together, if you didn't pick up on that. And then Facebook, my athlete page is same thing, facebook.com/Minnesoderman. And then, yeah, feel free to reach out to me if you have any more questions on Ultimate Beastmaster. Right now in my life, actually, I'm living out in California for a little while doing stunt work. So that's my newest project right now.
Nice.
Man, props to you. Stunt work is hard, but I hear it's very fun and rewarding. All the best. Stay safe with it, obviously, but I'm really glad you're expanding and living life, bro.
Yeah, of course. I've been absolutely loving it out here. I've really enjoyed the few things that I have done in the stunt world, and I love going out to Santa Monica, doing our Ninja Beach Sundays, and everything that comes with the LA lifestyle.
All right. Well, thank you all for listening. If you'd like to reach out to me, you can reach me as @NinjaPodcast on both Instagram and Twitter. You can email me at rich@ninjapodcast.com. And Bijan, how can they reach you?
Yep. So, just completed Spartan Sprint and Super Spartan this past weekend. I am hurting all over, but hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Bijan151. That is BIJAN151 to see all the pics, videos, all that fun stuff from the competitions. It was super fun. I am back to ANW training right now. Actually, Kyle, I might see you up at MLab because I'm going to be hitting that place up in the upcoming weeks. Getting prepared just in case I am on ANW 10 and. All the best in the world. Thank you so much for being on, Kyle. You are amazing, super fun, dope on the show. All the best. Ding for you, and best of luck for Ninja vs. Ninja and AEW 10. I know you're going to rock it, bro. All the best.
Thank you. I super, super appreciate you guys having me on. It was a ton of fun, and I will tell everyone to tune in to American Ninja Beastmaster.
I love it.
Thank you all for listening, and have a fantastic week.
Peace, love, and deuces.